So when we talk of implementing Six Sigma, let's understand the philosophy behind Six Sigma. What forms the philosophy or the structure on which Six Sigma stands? The first thing is that Six Sigma is data-driven approach. So it is improvement based on facts. Unless you know where you are standing today, how could you improve? Unless you know what is your output today, how can you improve your output? So Six Sigma is based on data and fact. And that's the reason once you go higher in this chain from white belt to yellow belt to green belt to black belt, you would see that statistics gets involved a lot. Once you go to black belt, there's a lot of statistics involved here because you want to make sense out of those numbers. So that's data driven approach in Six Sigma. The second philosophy of Six Sigma is that it is based on process. So any improvement which you are doing is on a process. And when I say a process, for process you would have input and you would have output. So here in Six Sigma, we will be looking at improving our output by changing our input. So unless you change your input, your output is not going to change. So that's the approach we are taking here. What all are inputs to the process which we can change so that our output improves. Somewhere later you will see an equation which is quite frequently used in Six Sigma, that is y is equal to fx, and y here is output. So that means output is the function of x and x is input here. So output is the function of inputs. Your inputs will decide your output. And when I say process approach, a process is not limited to a certain department or a certain function. The process, most of the cases, will be spreading over a number of departments, a number of functions. So when you want to improve a process, you would be involved with many departments or functions, not just restricted to one department or function. So that's the reason when we say Six Sigma is boundaryless. You don't restrict yourself to one particular department when you're doing improvement. You need to have interaction with other departments because your department output will be some other department's inputs. Same way, some other department's output you will be using in your department as an input. So here you need to have a boundaryless collaboration between different departments to improve process. Another thing in Six Sigma is that you have gate reviews. So when I said that you have 5 steps in improvement process, which is DMAC, define, measure, analyze, improve and control. In these 5 steps also, there are gate reviews after each of these steps. So once you have defined the project, once you go from define to measure, there is a gate review. Gate review to check whether your project will go ahead or not. So what does this mean is, even though Six Sigma is attempting for perfection, even though Six Sigma is trying to get 3.4 defects per million opportunities, but in this whole process of improvement, there would be cases when there would be failures. You will go ahead with an improvement project, but because of certain reasons, because of certain restrictions, you would have to cut short on that project or change the scope or scrap the project altogether. So whatever you have done would be lost. So even though Six Sigma is looking for perfection, but this accepts failure as well, because when you are trying to improve, there would be some cases where you would fail also, and Six Sigma understands that. The Six Sigma approach understands that. So that is driving for perfection but has a tolerance for failure. Another critical philosophy of Six Sigma is that this is based on customer need. So whatever we are doing, whatever improvement we are planning to do, that has to be focused on the customer requirement. And the term for that here is CTQ, which is critical to quality. Critical to quality are all those parameters which are important to customer. You don't want to do any improvement which is not important to your customer, because that will be waste of time, waste of money, because customer is not concerned about that. You have limited resources to do improvement, so do improvement in those areas which are of concern to your customer. There is a target of 3.4 defects per million opportunities when you are implementing Six Sigma. A Six Sigma process would have 3.4 defects in 1 million opportunities. That's also known as DPMO, defects per million opportunities. So that's another philosophy of Six Sigma. Then next two things, the target and the variation. The target in Six Sigma is around the center, around the mean. That's where you would target your process to be. In a simple example, if I would say that you are manufacturing a shaft which has 100 millimeter as the length, and this can go 2 millimeter plus or 2 millimeter minus. So this shaft can be anything between 98 to 102 millimeters. But in Six Sigma, your target would be to hit 100. That's where you would be approaching. Your target would be at the mean, at the center. And you will try to minimize variation. Anything will have variation, but in Six Sigma, your attempt is to have minimum variation. How do you minimize your variation in the process so that you deliver consistent product or consistent service to your customer? So these are few basic philosophies on which Six Sigma stands.